Interesting facts about the albatross seagull. The albatross is one of the beautiful seabirds with large wings and a lovely appearance that flies over the ocean waters and is a true survivor of the harsh sea conditions throughout history that has managed to adapt well. There are many types of this amazing bird, and one of its species, the wandering albatross, is considered the largest living bird in the world, although its population has greatly decreased due to competition for food resources with humans and is in danger of extinction. Stay with Adriana Jones to get to know the way of life, behavior, and appearance of albatrosses. Types of albatross. There are many debates about the types of albatross, and it is said that there are probably between 13 and 24 species of this bird in the world. One of the most famous species of albatross, the great albatross, has various subspecies, including the wandering albatross, the Amsterdam albatross, the northern royal albatross, and the southern royal albatross. Albatrosses, sea doves, and many other seabirds all belong to the sea pigeon family, and the last common ancestor of this family probably lived more than 30 million years ago. Appearance characteristics of albatross. The albatross is a stout, large-winged seabird whose body color is usually a combination of white, black, and gray. Although some species, such as the southern royal albatross, are monochromatic. This bird has a long orange or yellow beak with a hooked end. Its nasal tubes, unlike those of other birds, are located along the side of its beak and allow the bird to measure the airspeed of the flight. The most obvious physical characteristic of the albatross is the large distance between its wings, which makes the length of the wings long from one end to the other. The wings are stiff and arched. Because the albatross rarely flaps and usually flies over oceans for long periods of time with minimal body movement. Since the weight of this animal makes it difficult to fly, it is necessary to adapt to the environment. This characteristic of the albatross means that if the wind blows, the bird cannot fly well, but its positive point is that it consumes almost no energy while flying. The largest albatross. Some species of large albatrosses, especially wandering albatrosses, are considered the largest living species of birds in the world. It is said that the length of the wings of these birds from one end to the other is more than 3 meters, and their weight reaches about 9 kilograms. The wingspan of smaller species is about 2 meters, which is larger than many birds. Behavioral characteristics of albatrosses. The albatross is one of the most resilient birds, and combines the ability to soar in the air with minimal energy expenditure with the ability to float in water to easily cover long sea distances. Although this bird is more vulnerable on the water, it is necessary to go to the surface of the water to eat food and drink water, and since there is a special organ to excrete salt in its body, the extra salt that enters its body when drinking ocean water, it doesn't hurt. Due to the mentioned characteristics, the albatross has the ability to live in the sea and sometimes stops to rest on remote islands. This bird is mostly on the ground during the mating season and forms large groups that vary in density and size. The habitat of the albatross. Albatrosses are native to the southern hemisphere and the regions around Antarctica, South America, South Africa, and Australia. In the distant past, this animal lived in many parts of the northern hemisphere, but now only a few species live in the North Pacific region, between Alaska, California, Hawaii, and Japan. Due to its ability to eat seafood and salty sea water, this animal does not have much problem crossing open oceans, and the only thing it really needs to survive is the right wind, so the lack of wind in some areas becomes a problem for it. Albatross food. The diet of albatross consists of squid, krill, small fish groups, and, less often, zooplankton, microscopic marine organisms. This bird sometimes looks for garbage on ships, or feeds on dead carcasses on the surface of the water. The exact nature of the diet of this animal varies from one species to another, but unlike other dominant seabirds such as penguins, most albatross species such as the wandering albatross cannot dive very deep into the water, so their food is sometimes difficult to obtain. Some species dive from the sky into the water as soon as they see the prey on the surface of the water to hunt it. Enemy of the albatross. The albatross spends most of its life swimming or flying over the ocean, so it is not at risk from terrestrial carnivores, but young albatrosses are sometimes preyed upon by tiger sharks. Cats and mice may also eat albatross eggs. Another important threat is humans. Some Arctic natives may use this animal as an important source of food in northern regions where there is not enough food. In addition, due to excessive fishing by humans, albatrosses have faced a decrease in food resources in different areas. Marine pollution is another threat to albatrosses that eventually leads to abnormal growth, reproductive problems, and the death of this animal. Albatross food. The diet of albatross consists of squid, krill, small fish groups, and, less often, zooplankton, microscopic marine organisms. This bird sometimes looks for garbage on ships or feeds on dead carcasses on the surface of the water. The exact nature of the diet of this animal varies from one species to another, but unlike other dominant seabirds such as penguins, most albatross species such as the wandering albatross cannot dive very deep into the water, so their food is sometimes difficult to obtain. Some species dive from the sky into the water as soon as they see the prey on the surface of the water to hunt it. Enemy of the albatross. The albatross spends most of its life swimming or flying over the ocean, so it is not at risk from terrestrial carnivores, but young albatrosses are sometimes preyed upon by tiger sharks. Cats and mice may also eat albatross eggs. Another important threat is humans. Some Arctic natives may use this animal as an important source of food in northern regions where there is not enough food. In addition, due to excessive fishing by humans, albatrosses have faced a decrease in food resources in different areas. Marine pollution is another threat to albatrosses that eventually leads to abnormal growth, reproductive problems, and the death of this animal. Albatross breeding. After traveling long distances in the oceans, albatross migrate to remote islands and coastal areas to breed. This animal is very careful when choosing a mate because it is usually monogamous and stays with one partner for the rest of its life. Choosing a mate is a complex process that is necessary to maintain the survival of the albatross. This bird makes certain movements and sounds to communicate with its mate. It is said that younger birds need years of practice and trial and error to be able to perform this ceremony well. After mating, the albatross starts a new life, and even if its mate has trouble conceiving, they are rarely separated. This bird makes a large nest of grass, soil, bushes, and even feathers in the high area, and after laying the eggs, the parents take turns sleeping on the eggs. This extraordinary cooperation leads to the birth of an albatross chick, and they usually wait a year until the next mating. Chicks hatch a few months later and are dependent on their parents in almost every way. At the beginning of life, the parents are involved in protecting the chicks and gathering food, feeding their young with a mixture of krill, fish, squid, and an oily substance produced from digested food in the stomach. It takes a few weeks for the chicks to become large enough to fend for themselves, and 3 to 10 months before they gain the ability to fly and start hunting on their own. Young albatrosses spend the next 5 to 10 years at sea and come ashore to mate when they are mature enough. The lifespan of an albatrosses can live up to 50 years, and some specimens have lived even longer. However, many of these birds do not reach maturity. Albatross endangered. The albatross is currently not in good condition due to human negligence, and its population has decreased to a great extent. Some species of this bird are almost in danger of extinction. For example, the Listen albatross, which is a species close to extinction, has about 1.6 million adults left in the wild, while there are only a few thousand birds of the waved albatross and Tristan's albatross. The population of most other species is usually between 10,000 and 100,000 adult birds. For example, there are only 20,000 birds left of the great wandering albatross. Interesting facts about albatross. The scientific name of the albatross is Diomedeidae, which is derived from the ancient Greek hero Diomedes. This warrior participated in the Trojan War, and according to legend, the albatross sang at the time of his death. Albatrosses have almost constant movement at other times of the year, except during mating and breeding season. A typical albatross travels thousands of kilometers a year. For a long time, some scientists thought that this bird slept during its flights because it traveled long distances in the sea, but today it is known that it probably stops to sleep on the water at night. This bird has an excellent sense of smell and can detect the smell of food from a distance of 19 kilometers. Life in the sea makes up more than 80% of an albatross life. It is a carnivorous bird.